Right now, somewhere beneath the Pacific Ocean, something longer than 2 school buses is moving silently through the dark. A predator so powerful, even killer whales would flee from it. And if it never went extinct, humanity's relationship with the ocean would be completely different. Because this wouldn't just be a shark. This would be the undisputed ruler of Earth's oceans. Tonight, we ask the terrifying question: what if megalodon sharks were still here? Millions of years ago, the oceans belonged to one creature. And if Megalodon had survived until today, it would still rule them. Not from one place, but everywhere. The deep Pacific Ocean would likely become its kingdom. Miles beneath the surface, where sunlight disappears and the water turns black, Megalodon could move almost undetected. The pressure is crushing. The darkness feels endless. And for a giant predator trying to stay hidden, there may be no better place on Earth. Some scientists believe the deep ocean could still hide things we have never discovered. Now imagine something over 60 feet long slipping silently through those depths. But Megalodon wouldn't stay hidden forever, because a predator that large needs enormous amounts of food. And that means migration. Just like whales, megalodons would follow them. Across oceans, across continents, across entire migration routes that become danger zones. Not just for animals, but also for us. Shipping routes would be tracked constantly. Fishing zones would be avoided. Entire regions of ocean would become restricted. And sonar warnings might appear before entering certain waters. Unidentified massive predator detected near coastline. Not a storm, not a tsunami, a living creature. For the first time, humans would fear the ocean again. And the truth is, today's oceans could still support them. Huge whale populations, deep ecosystems, endless food supply. The ocean is still wild enough for monsters. We just forgot that. Governments would build global tracking systems, satellites, sonar grids, AI prediction models, not to hunt Megalodon, but to avoid it. Entire maps would change. Safe zones, danger zones, forbidden waters. And slowly, humanity would realize something uncomfortable. The ocean was never ours. We only believed it was. But what happens when the world finally realizes something this massive is out there? That's when everything begins. It begins in the Pacific Ocean. A cargo ship crosses calm water. No storm, no warning. Then sonar detects something impossible. A massive, moving object beneath the ship, too large to identify. At first, they think it's an error. But then it moves. Fast. Following the ship. The signal is enormous, far larger than any shark. Then, suddenly, it disappears. Days later, another incident. Deep-sea divers go silent mid-mission. Cameras shake. Breathing turns frantic. A final scream. What is that? Then nothing. The divers never return. Soon after, a whale washes ashore. Its body covered in massive bite marks. Too large, too precise, matching prehistoric megalodon teeth. Then, the internet explodes. Blurry footage, huge shadows under boats, a shape longer than the vessel itself. Some call it fake.
Others believe it immediately. Conspiracy theories return overnight. Secret oceans, hidden monsters, government cover-ups, and then silence from authorities. Denials appear, but ocean routes quietly shut down. Military ships appear where they shouldn't. Something is happening, and nobody knows what. Fear spreads, not just because of the creature, but because of uncertainty. How many are out there? And once humanity accepts the possibility that Megalodon is real, life on Earth changes forever.
The discovery would change human life forever. The ocean would stop feeling safe. Beaches would empty. Tourism would collapse. Entire coastal economies would fall. Not because attacks happen daily, but because they could. Fear alone is enough. Barriers would rise. Drones would patrol coastlines. Swimming restrictions would spread worldwide. The ocean becomes something to avoid. Fishing industries would collapse next. A predator this large would disrupt entire ecosystems. Fish populations shift. Whale migrations change. Supply chains break. Prices rise. Coastal communities suffer first, then global markets follow. And the military would react silently. Sonar systems upgraded. Deep-sea tracking activated. Submarines monitored. Unknown contacts recorded. Governments studying it quietly, not publicly, because the truth would cause panic. And then social media takes over. Fake sightings everywhere. Real disappearances mixed in. Nobody can tell the difference anymore. The world becomes obsessed. Because for the first time, we are not in control. But humans wouldn't be the only species forced to adapt. The entire ocean would change. Great white sharks would be pushed aside, or worse, hunted. Orcas might resist, smart, strategic, coordinated. Battles would form beneath the waves, nature fighting nature. Whales would change migration routes. Entire oceans would shift behavior. The sea becomes a battlefield. Not peaceful, not silent, alive and dangerous. And eventually, humanity would face a difficult reality. We can't leave the ocean. So how would we survive alongside its new ruler? Could humans survive? Yes, but life would change completely. Technology would rise. AI tracking systems, underwater drones, ocean surveillance networks, entire coastlines monitored 24/7. But the ocean is too big, too deep, too unpredictable. Safe oceans would become a luxury. Rich nations protected, poor regions exposed. A global divide beneath the sea. And then the real question appears. Protect it or eliminate it? Science would call it priceless. Governments would call it dangerous. And humanity would split. Yet, the most frightening scenario isn't that Megalodon survives. It's what happens if it evolves. The darkest possibility is evolution. Megalodon learning, adapting, changing. Not randomly, but intelligently. Appearing near shipping routes, following ships, using human activity as a hunting signal. Noise means fish. Fish means whales. Whales mean food. It learns. Then it adapts. Attacks become more strategic. Night becomes dangerous. Coastlines become quiet after sunset. The ocean stops feeling like nature and starts feeling like intelligence.
And slowly, humans realize something terrifying. We don't understand what's down there anymore. We never did. And that realization leads to an even deeper truth.
And maybe the most disturbing truth is this. The ocean never belonged to us. It only tolerated us. And if megalodons still existed, we would finally understand that we are not the top predator on Earth. If megalodons still lived in our oceans, everything changes. Fear rises first, then respect, then adaptation. The oceans might even recover in some ways. Ecosystems restored, balance returned, but freedom disappears. No more careless ocean travel, no more safe darkness at sea. A healthier ocean, but a more fearful world. And in that world, humans would remember something they forgot. We are not above nature. We are part of it. And for the first time in modern history, humans would feel small again. Not because we lost power, but because we finally remembered it was never absolute. Today, when we look at the ocean, it feels empty. But if megalodons still existed, every wave, every shadow, every deep trench would remind us that something far older is still out there. And maybe the scariest part is this. We still know more about Mars than our own oceans. So if Megalodon had survived, would we even know? If this video gave you chills, subscribe to What If First and comment below. What creature do you think humanity could never survive against?